Hello from Japan. This is JLab. Now, I've been talking about the movie Princess Mononoke, and today I'll be talking about Lady Eboshi. Lady Eboshi is the leader of Irontown. She is strong and dependable. But during the movie, there is no reference of where she came from or what kind of past she had. Also, it's not very clear why Lady Eboshi had to hunt down the forest god. There are also questions like, how does she know Jigo? Why aren't there any children in Irontown? And I'll be answering all of them. Let me begin with Lady Eboshi's past. According to Hayao Miyazaki's memo, she was a slave sold to China and went through the following. She was sold as a slave, but a pirate captain took her as a wife. After she gained power within the ship, she killed the captain, came back to Japan with weapons. Gonza was the only one who followed Lady Eboshi. This does make sense why she would be dressed up as like a high-ranked prostitute and had the technique of making iron. Her difficult background must have made her the strong person she is. Also, it's made clear by the creators that Gonza was a pirate, and that is how he met Lady Eboshi. Now, the Irontown that Lady Eboshi leads. Irontown has its own culture, and there are several theories surrounding Irontown. One of the most memorable traits of Irontown is all the people who are bandaged like mummies. There is a theory that these are Hansen disease patients. Hansen disease patients get things like warts on their skin, so they were usually bandaged to cover up all the damage on the skin. Also, the women working in Irontown were sold as slaves just like Lady Eboshi. Lady Eboshi takes in all these people who are outcasts and let them work and live in Irontown. In this period, people working with iron were lower class and were also discriminated. So this was a town full of outcasts. The reason why the townspeople looked up to Lady Eboshi was probably because of her kindness towards the weak and the outcasts. Eboshi does not have any special skills, but her actions are very logical. While the other characters in the movie are trying to live with nature, she tries to control nature. All the events in the movie take place because Lady Eboshi tried to tear down the forest. Princess Mononoke begins with Lady Eboshi. According to Hayao Miyazaki's memo, Lady Eboshi is depicted as a modern person. She has left the state of being controlled, left the country, and tried to make her own country. In other words, she's a revolutionary. She made the Irontown different from society and welcomed people with no discrimination. She shows kindness to her people, but at the same time, you will see essence of her being able to abandon people when necessary. These two aspects make her a complex and fascinating character. Ashitaka leaves his village because of the curse, and with the guidance of the Kodama, he arrives at Irontown. There, he experiences the culture of Irontown and sees that the conflict between Irontown and the forest. Eboshi and Jigo don't understand sun and the forest, and their only conclusion is to fight against them. There, Ashitaka insists to think of a way for Irontown and the forest to coexist. There's actually a character Lady Eboshi is based after. Her name is Tate Eboshi, and she is a devil in a legend. This devil, Tate Eboshi, is sent to turn Japan into a devil's land, but falls in love with one of the warriors who are trying to destroy her. She marries him, has a child, and mends her ways. And in the end, she helps the warriors defeat the other devils. Hayao Miyazaki's holiday house is in a village called Eboshi, and that is what he named his character after. So why did Eboshi have to kill the forest god? According to Hayao Miyazaki, it was because she wanted to make a powerful town that would be free from any samurai. The forest did not belong to anyone but the forest god. By taking over the forest and killing off any god who tried to fight back, she thought that Irontown would gain power that no other place has. She wanted to make her own country where she would not be haunted by the past, and that no other person will be able to take over. And her ideal place lied in the forest, so she had to make war to those who tried to protect the forest and wanted to kill off the forest god. When it comes to the god hunting, Jigo plays an important role. Hayao Miyazaki states the following about Jigo. He is the leader of the Hinin, the lowest class in the Japanese class system. He gathers information from all over the country and does business in the black market. He took in Eboshi's weapons under his wing and helped Eboshi run Irontown. He wanted to build his army there, his main aim to kill the forest god. But when Eboshi starts to develop her own army of women, Jigo feels intimidated. Finding the boar god gathering their allies to attack Irontown, Jigo takes the chance. He finds a letter from the emperor, uses his Shibari minions to gather information. He gathers all he can to defeat the forest god. Here, Jigo is the head of the Hinin and the soldier gatherer. Hinin, as I explained before, was the lowest rank in the Japanese class system, and the kanji writes, "not human." He is the depiction of the people who are discriminated in this era. It is quite a surprise that he even helped run Irontown. Jigo and Eboshi working together shows even more clearly how Eboshi did not discriminate. So why was Jigo after the forest god? Why does he go through all that trouble? In the movie, there isn't much of an explanation. But to these questions, Hayao Miyazaki states, "Do you know what the leaders are thinking? How they want to run the situation? You can do things without knowing that." So, Jigo doesn't have any interest why the emperor wants the forest god. Jigo is just doing his job he was told to do. He has no idea why. Jigo and Eboshi are business partners who happen to have the same aim, killing off the forest god. Also, to why there are no children in Irontown. In all other movies that Hayao Miyazaki has directed, there is always a scene with at least one child. In Irontown, there are only men and women, no elders or children. One reason could be because Irontown is a very dangerous place. The men Eboshi leads are cutting down the forest knowingly that they are angering the forest gods. The iron that they are making are always targeted by the samurai. Irontown is a place that could turn into a war zone at any moment, and later in the movie does turn into one. Ashitaka comments that Irontown is like a castle, and as said, the town is protected by a giant gate. The people in Irontown know that Irontown is not a safe place to raise children, so they probably didn't have any, or had to go to another village nearby to raise their children, or give up their children to relatives who lived in a different place. Hayao Miyazaki wanted to get away from the image of women doing housework and men having to protect them. He says that if he included children, it would make the image complicated, so he didn't add any. There probably will be children born in Irontown later on, but the movie does not take place at that time. In Irontown, the women clearly have more power than the men, and are capable of driving away samurai. Hayao Miyazaki has commented that he did not want to be tied to the stereotypes of olden Japanese society. He also wanted to create a place where he could develop unique characters. The characters he wanted to create were probably strong women working in Irontown, not a samurai nor a farmer. In the end of the movie, Eboshi says, "Ashitaka, can somebody find him? I need to thank him. We're going to start all over again. This time, we'll build a better town." You can see that Eboshi has been moved by Ashitaka and wants his help to make the town more peaceful. Perhaps this new town will be a place where the townspeople will feel safe to have children. So, I've been talking about Eboshi and her relationships with other characters. But there still is a character I haven't talked about. That is Princess Mononoke herself, Sun, the wolf girl. In the next video, I'll be explaining all about Sun and Eboshi. See you again! Mata ne!